this story that you showed me. Here it is. Police in Florida have charged New England Patriots owner Robert Kraft with misdemeanor solicitation of prostitution, saying they have videotape of him paying for a sex act inside an illicit massage parlor. Jupiter police told reporters Friday that the 77-year-old Kraft hasn't been arrested. A warrant will be issued and his attorneys will be notified. The charge comes amid a widespread crackdown on sex trafficking in the area surrounding Palm Beach County. About 200 arrests have been issued in recent days and more are expected. Initially, when I talked about this at the beginning of the show, I just thought that, he was engaging in some consensual act with somebody and got caught in a public place. I didn't know all of this stuff was going on. Sex trafficking and videotape, a sting operation spanning months, over 200 arrests. Good Lord, I didn't know he was a part of that. They're not accusing him of sex trafficking, obviously. They're accusing him of being involved in soliciting prostitution. But this is obviously a serious matter now. Make no mistake about it. My lack of understanding, I apologize. I didn't know all of that. Let's go to Stacy. You're live with Stephen A. on ESPN Radio and ESPN News. Hi, Stacy.
Hey, Stephen A. I've been a long-time listener.
Thank you.
Anyway, I am just calling you to let you know I am so unhappy about a situation with Robert Kraft.
Yes, sir. Yes,
I also wanted to say, because these people have money, they get away with just a slap on the wrist. Mm-hmm. That's not fair. These people come from all over the world. These young children, it could be your child, get kidnapped and taken to some different part of the country. Mm-hmm. I'm a 18-wheeler driver all over the country, and I see things and I say things. I report things. My name is probably so long on the different PD, whatever part of the country I go to. If I see a vehicle parked anywhere close to a truck, I call it up because you know what? I don't know. You never know. It could be somebody else's child. I have a lot of nieces and nephews. It could be any one of mine.
And see, Stacey, that's why I'm so grateful for the call because, see, when I originally heard about this story, I'm thinking, listen, he's been on the record. He had a, relatively young girlfriend. And I'm thinking, he's probably with her. And he got caught engaging in some consensual activity. I had no idea about the sex trafficking, the sting operation, or anything like that. And so now that changes it and elevates the level of seriousness that should be attached to all of this without question. And so, I mean, my apologies for not knowing more before I even commented on the article. I want to make sure I say, because I get where you're coming from. When you talk about sex trafficking, and again, Robert Kraft is not being accused of such thing. He's being accused of soliciting prostitution. But the whole issue of sex trafficking and how serious of a crime that is and how children are involved and what have you. Oh, my God, I had no idea that was a part of this story. So I appreciate you commenting about it, Stacey.
Believe it or not, Stephen A., there's too much rich folks out here is just getting what they want and just with a slap on the wrist. It's not fair. What about these young children? As I said, it could be anybody's child. What about his grandchild? What about his great-grandchild?
Yeah, absolutely. I appreciate the call, Stacey. Thank you so much. Those are the legitimate questions. Anytime you hear about sex trafficking, that's exactly what you have to think about. That's exactly what you have to think about. That's exactly what you have to do. That's why I paused when I saw sex trafficking. What the hell are they talking? What is going on? Wow. Carlton, you're live with Stephen A. What's up, man?
Hey, I am really saddened by this news. I've always considered Robert Kraft, the consummate executive. And I actually hope somehow, some way he got wrapped up in something far beyond what he understood it to be. My views on Bill Belichick are well known. I can't stand the guy. He's been cheating since he was a lacrosse player at Wesleyan, as was delineated in the biography of him recently released, which made the New York Times. But Kraft is a different person from my standpoint. Nothing but class. But what I really want to see tomorrow is how the social justice warriors on your program, the Mollies and the Maxes.
Well, you're gonna have to wait. Well, you got to mean Monday because we don't come back on.
Oh, you're
Monday.
right. Yeah, Monday. I forgot today's Friday. You're right. These are the people that remember when Reuben Foster was just even accused of having a problem with a girlfriend who had actually gone, I think, did a little time for falsely accusing a prior boyfriend.
Yes.
They jumped down his throat. They jumped down the Washington Redskins' throat. They thought the Redskins were just like the most horrendous franchise in the world for actually, taking a chance on this guy going forward. Of course, a month and a half later, all charges were dropped against him, and that's completely gone away. But now that Robert Kraft is a favorite of theirs, I can't wait to see what they say about him getting wrapped up in a potentially human trafficking ring that most of them do involve underage children. And in this case, we're talking females. So I can't wait what the social justice warriors have to say about this.
I tell you this much, Carlton. People are going to need to have a lot to say. Because again, when I first heard the story, I'm thinking, okay, he has a young girlfriend. He got caught in a compromising situation, engaging in consensual activity with a consenting adult. When you see the word sex trafficking, that's an entirely different connotation. And all of a sudden, it starts thinking about what you brought up, what the previous caller Stacy brought up, and you're talking about human trafficking. You're talking about involving potentially underage children and all of this other stuff. Now, again, he's been accused of soliciting prostitution. He hasn't been accused of being in sex trafficking or anything like that. So let's make sure that we divide the two and make sure we understand what he's being accused of. But nevertheless, when you see the story and anything, you start to talk about sting operations, 200 arrests, a sting operation that involves or spans months at a time, and it said sex trafficking. That's an entirely different situation that I thought existed. So it's scary now, and I sincerely hope he's not guilty of anything the police appear to be accusing him of. But I got to tell you, it's not a good situation for him to be in. And like you said, you think highly of him. Imagine what I think of him and other people think of him who know him a little bit. I mean, we think the world of him. So to see his name associated with such a thing is incredibly uncomfortable.
I sincerely hope he's innocent, but that has never prevented Molly and Max from going at people in the past that are even tangentially associated with any of this stuff. And by the way, you know my views on Donald Trump. I am no fan of Donald Trump's. But for a year and a half, I had to listen to Max at least 30 times bloviate on Donald Trump's collusion with Russians. He has been amazingly silent after that whole thing has completely blown up in his face. If you'd ask him, could he update all of us sports aficionados that had to listen to him bloviate about that, what his position is on that now, that it was all one big fraud on his part, trying to convince everybody that the current administration. Yeah, so
Carlton,
anyway.
Appreciate the call as always, my man. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Let's go to Jack. You're live with Stephen A. Talk to me, Jack.
Hey, Stephen.
Hold on, Jack. Breaking news, CNN, musician R. Kelly, who's been associated with accusations of abusing young women for decades, has been indicted, according to CNN. Now, that is a man I hope gets thrown under the jail after seeing that documentary against him on Lifetime. Oh, my Lord. I just wanted to put that out there. Go ahead, Jack.
Hey, Stephen. First of all, I don't know if you remember from a couple of weeks ago, I just wanted to say thank you because it made me kind of famous amongst my friends who heard me on your show.
Oh, man, you were a great caller. And I didn't make you famous. You made yourself famous because you were making really, really good points. Nothing but respect for you for that, my man.
Well, no, I just wanted to, obviously you didn't like my comment about the Bears, but I don't want to talk about the Bears right now. I wanted to ask you personally, do you think that the NFL will intervene with this Robert Kraft situation at all?
Yes, they will. They will. They have to. They have to. It's a matter of public record. It's a matter of public record. The police are charging him with a crime, albeit a misdemeanor, still a crime. And the Shield will tell you don't even have to be arrested. You don't have to be indicted. You don't have to be convicted. The court of the NFL will intervene, and obviously something will be brought to bear because of this. There's no question about that.
So what kind of punishment do you think they'll maybe hand down?
I think it depends. I think it depends on what they learn from the police, and as they do their own investigation, that will determine the severity of the punishment.
Thanks, Stephen A. And as always, go Bears. Super Bowl favorites for next year.
All right. Thank you, man. By the way, the NFL says it is aware of the ongoing law enforcement matter and will continue to monitor developments. So they'll monitor developments, and knowing them, they will engage in their own investigation, and they will go from there. Raheem, you're live with Stephen A. Talk to me.
Stephen A., what's going on, brother?
What's up, man? Go ahead.
Nothing much. Glad to be on your show today.
Thank you.
I just wanted to make it clear. I'm totally against sex trafficking, soliciting,
So am I.
prostitution.
So am I. So am I.
Details, but what I'm saying, they knew this was going on. You know, they let him win the Super Bowl. But in my opinion, this is just my opinion. Once he built a relationship with Meek Mill, you know, they won the Super Bowl. He put the chain on his neck. I think that he put on the gasoline tuxedo and jogged by a fire when he did that. And then in recent talks, they were talking about signing Kaepernick. If I'm getting it correct, that's when the fire jumped out at him.
No, the reports were that they would one of the teams that would consider him, but it was according to his lawyer. Carolina and New England would be ideal landing spots or whatever. I don't know what level of validity there was to that, because where's Tom Brady going? That's number one. Number two, let me make sure I get this clear. For my listeners, what you're saying is that his association with Meek Mill, who obviously, not just because of being a rap artist, but being incarcerated for the probation violation, and ultimately with the assistance of Michael Rubin, part owner for the Philadelphia 76ers, along with Robert Kraft of the New England Patriots, helping to get him out of jail. You're saying his association with Meek Mill, combined with reported willingness to consider bringing Colin Kaepernick to the New England Patriots, you're saying that's a reason why Robert Kraft finds himself in this tenuous situation?
I believe so. That's just my personal opinion. You know, once you're in the higher-ups like that, they don't want certain things to, you know, coincide together. They want you to be on this side, and that's that. Once you start mixing it and crossing it, America wants him put on a plateau to where he stands alone and this country is great. That's just my opinion, brother.
My reaction to that would be, I think that's a stretch, but I'm in no position to tell you you're definitively wrong. I don't know that to be the case. I kind of doubt it, but I can understand the conspiracy theorists out there like yourself, how that could be something that's plausible. I can do that.
But listen to this though. If he is guilty, let's get him on a Lifetime television show like they do on R. Kelly.
Well, if he's guilty of what? Soliciting prostitution?
Come on, brother.
Wait a minute. Soliciting prostitution is illegal as it may be, okay? And I'm certainly, again, when we say sex trafficking, particularly when you're talking about minors, and oh my God, that's just egregious. Don't get me started with that. Like I said, I didn't know that was the damn story. I thought he got busted engaging in something consensual with another adult or something like that. As simple as that. I didn't know all this sex trafficking stuff was going on, you know, in terms of the sting operation spanning months and over 200 arrests. I had no idea that was the story when I first started off the show. But having said all of that, let's be clear. R. Kelly has been accused of rape, of kidnapping, and stuff like that. I'm just saying. I don't know. Like, you know, I'm not even qualified to go into this because I just don't know. Appreciate the call, man. Thank you so much. 888-SAY-ESPN. It's 888-729-3776. Back with more of your calls on this matter involving Robert Kraft and this whole sex trafficking sting operation conducted by police in Florida and what have you. This is a bad situation. Had no idea it was like this. 888-SAY-ESPN. That's 888-729-3776. We'll get back to more of your calls in a minute. By the way, do you have frequent heartburn, like the kind where you have antacids stashed everywhere in case it pops up? You know what I mean. You keep some in your bag or your desk or your car or your nightstand. You have those chalky tablets ready for whenever and wherever heartburn strikes. Well, listen up. There's an easier way to deal with your heartburn. That's Prilosec OTC. Just one pill a day will last a full 24 hours with zero heartburn. Kick your antacid habit. It's possible with Prilosec OTC. Use as directed for 14 days to treat frequent heartburn, not for immediate relief. Back to your calls in more in a minute with Stephen A. ESPN Radio, ESPN News.
Craving even more of Stephen A?
Him of all